Don't be such a fucking hypocrite.
Baby.
Enjoy this great game.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Humm Baby Baseball channel. This is Eric, and today we're talking about David Ortiz. He has gotten into the Hall of Fame on his first ballot. I promised everyone a reaction video, a rant video. I did go live, so there's tons of coverage. You're going to check out that live video. It's still on the channel, but this will be a more condensed video where I'll just give my overall thoughts here on the election. And, you know, I agree with the title of this article right here. David Ortiz induction highlights hypocrisy of Hall of Fame voters. Let's just be honest. You got a guy like Barry Bonds, the best hitter to ever play the game, somewhat arguably. I don't even know how arguable that is because Barry Bonds is clearly, you know, the cream of the crop. Okay, Roger Clemens, one of the best pitchers to ever pitch in Major League Baseball. Both surefire, 100%, no doubt Hall of Famers if they never touch steroids. And you have other guys who can't get in, who can't get any traction. Not only steroid users, but even non-steroid users can't get in, like who are really good. Fred McGriff never could get in. Don Mattingly could never touch the Hall of Fame. And you have guys still on the ballot who can't get in, who seem pretty worthy. And then you have guys like Sammy Sosa, who we'll get to in a minute, who hit over 600 home runs, but he can't get in because why? Well, he has a steroid connection. What is that steroid connection with Sammy Sosa, by the way? A failed 2003 test that was not supposed to go public. Interesting. Sammy Sosa failed a 2003 test that was not supposed to go public. And then when you look at all of what he did, you know, throughout the late 90s, it's like, okay, the dude was roiding. The dude was freaking juicing like crazy. That's how, you know, I mean, how else can you explain 60-plus home runs in 3 out of 4 seasons? I get it. I get it. And here you have another guy who failed one of those 2003 steroid tests that was not supposed to go public. David Ortiz, first year on the ballot, in. I don't know how to explain that. First year on the ballot, while you're simultaneously, this is the thing, it's not like it's 10, 15, 20 years later and, you know, Sammy Sosa, Bonds, and Clemens have done fallen off a long time ago. No. Those guys were still on the ballot this year, and they all got denied. That tells you the hypocrisy of these voters. So David Ortiz received his rightful call for immortality on Tuesday. I agree, he's a Hall of Famer, and I'm happy for David Ortiz, and I really enjoyed his reaction video. So you're like, well, what are you talking about, dude? What are you mad about? I'm not mad that Ortiz is in. I'm mad that Ortiz is in his first year on the ballot, and Bonds and Clemens continued to get denied and have fallen off the ballot now. Amazing. Sosa's off the ballot too. Ortiz was inducted into the Hall of Fame in his first try, receiving 77.6% of the vote, the only player to reach the 75% threshold. Bonds and Clemens were second and third, respectively, both seeing improvements on their previous totals, but it was not enough. Bonds and Clemens will now be left to the Veterans Committee, with those former players and executives left to decide their fate. I don't know if we'll ever see it. I really don't know. I don't even know if the Veterans Committee will elect them in. I think they'll elect Schilling. And I think they'll elect some of these other guys who are going to be falling off, Jeff Kent, etc. But I don't know, Bonds and Clemens. I don't know. David Ortiz's induction highlights the hypocrisy of voters, but he should not be the only one on stage that had been voted in. Both Bonds and Clemens, at a minimum, should be there as well. Two of the greatest players to ever appear in the game. The problem is that both players are linked to PED usage. Their inclusion in the Mitchell report, PED allegations keeping them out of the Hall. But that is the elephant in the room because Ortiz failed a steroid test back in 2003, but was not named on the Mitchell report. Not only did Ortiz fail to find out why he was named in the report after promising to, but Bud Selig also said to ignore his failed test because there were several that were due to substances that were not banned at the time. So yeah, the test is a little bit ambiguous and everything, but that's if I'm not mistaken, that's the only evidence we got on Sosa. If we're just going on evidence, that's all we got on Sosa too. And Sosa can't get any traction. He's off the ballot too. I mean, no traction, not even 40, 30%. He's down in 20% range. Like Sosa can't get even close. And all he has, and I'm not saying that Sosa was not juicing, but I'm just saying if we're just looking at evidence, I think that's all there is on Sosa. Correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong on that. It may also be not a coincidence that Ortiz's career took off when he got to Boston and had that failed test. He was teammates with Manny Ramirez after all, and said that part of his education in Boston was wanting to find out what made Ramirez an all-star. Well, he may have found out, considering that Ramirez was suspended twice for PED use. Does Ortiz belong in the Hall? Absolutely he does, and I agree. But so do Bonds and Clemens. This is the first guy who has a failed steroid test in his history who has been elected. There are at least now 4 guys in the Hall of Fame, and probably more, who did steroids at some point in time, more than likely. More than likely. You got Pudge Rodriguez, who was named in Jose Canseco's book, who played with Canseco, who played with Palmeiro, okay, played with Juan Gonzalez. Are you kidding me? Pudge was more than likely juicing. He's in. You got Piazza. There's lots of evidence there. I think he even may have admitted to trying it at some point in one of his books or something like that. I'm not really caught up on that, but I believe that there are some steroid connections with Piazza. He's in. Then you have Jeff Bagwell. And I've heard a lot of allegations on Bagwell, and I've heard it directly from former MLB players that Bagwell has done some steroids. He's in the Hall of Fame. I don't have any proof with any of these guys, but I'm just saying. And now you have a guy with a failed steroid test in the Hall of Fame. Barry Bonds, nobody would argue, Barry Bonds is a better player by far than all 4 of them, maybe all 4 of them combined. Yeah, I'm a Giants fan, but I'll say the same about Roger Clemens. Roger Clemens, and I'm not a Roger Clemens fan. Roger Clemens is one of the best pitchers of all time, better than all 4 of them at what they do. Absolutely pathetic. The Hall of Fame is a joke. I don't even know if I want to visit the Hall of Fame at this point. What a joke. What an absolute pathetic joke. You know, David Ortiz, I'm happy for him, but I would have preferred David Ortiz to get in on his 3rd, 4th, 5th ballot at some point after Bonds and Clemens had fallen off for a few years. And by the way, that 15-year, that they changed it to 10 years, Bonds and Clemens could have been on the ballot for 5 more years. They probably would have got in. They changed it specifically to screw them. So it's such a, I don't know what the freak, man. These high and mighty voters, this Hall of Fame, it's just becoming a joke. That's what it's becoming. That's pissing me off. So, I mean, I don't see any reason to go on and rant any longer about it. Because at the end of the day, it's a museum with a plaque. It's a museum with a plaque. It used to mean more than that, but at this point, I don't know if it does. Let me know in the comment section down below. And I'll talk to you next time.
When the Giants come to town, it's bye bye baby. Every time the chips are down, it's bye bye baby. History's in the making at Oracle Park.